Hey, Becky, taking the time. I just wanted to ask, I know that a couple players on the national team had talked about stuff that they were doing to support racial justice sort of behind the scenes. And I'm just wondering if you could talk about some of that work that you might be involved in, or that your national team teammates are involved in, or that your Thorns teammates are involved in.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm sure you've heard of the Black Women's Player Collective, and I'm one of the advocates for the group. And so whatever initiatives that they're really starting, whether it's programming with some of their mini pitches, or even if it's looking at each market and wondering how we can beef up maybe HR, or making sure there's a point person for people to go to if they feel like they've been racially abused or discriminated against. So policies like that can really help players feel psychologically and physically safe in the markets that they play for. So there's a lot of work going on, and a lot of it is being spearheaded by the Black Women's Player Collective, and they're doing wonderful, wonderful work.
Hi, Becky. Thanks for doing this. Just talking about the process of being with the national team, coming back in this expanded preseason. What has your approach been to keeping yourself, where you want to be, or running up to the NWSL Challenge Cup? Just talk about for you as a veteran player, what this has been like, what lessons from the past have helped you deal with this long preseason period.
Yeah, so because of playing with the national team, it feels like I've already gone through 2 preseasons, because we started pretty early in the year with women's national team scheduling. And so I'll have been through a couple preseasons and feel pretty played in. And then you come back for me to Portland, and everyone's just kind of in the first strides of preseason. So I'm at, I've kind of gone through the initial physical loading and everything. So a lot of the national team players, not just the Americans, but the ones that are coming in, like Rocky, the Costa Rican, or not to coming in from Finland, and the Canadians, is that we kind of have to do sometimes extra work after some training sessions, just because we're at just a different physical level, because we've put in the work earlier than some of the rest of the players. And so it's just a little bit of individual maintenance, and sometimes pushing on when some of the players that have been here that are pros are just kind of starting that work. And so it's been a lot of work with the sport performance group. There's been a lot of communication between the U.S. women's national team and the Portland sport performance group. And so it's just kind of individualizing things sometimes when it needs to happen. But it's been pretty seamless, and it's been great coming from women's national team back to Portland, and just really having a lot of time here. I think that's what's great about the extended preseason for the NWSL, is that I get to spend now 4 to 6 weeks here with Portland, just working on everything that we want to work on as a group, and really kind of gelling and working on that chemistry. And so I've really enjoyed it, and I think it's gone pretty well.
So with the national team, there's always been a big focus on, fighting for equality and pushing against the status quo. And piggybacking off the first question, we're seeing some of that in the NWSL as well. So my question is sort of, how do you balance doing your job, which is playing soccer, with feeling the need to address those things? And is it something that, like, you and your teammates discuss how to juggle and approach together, or how do you navigate that balance?
Yeah, I think I'm going to tackle this 2 ways. I think, let's say my work with the Players Association with the national team, we want to make players that want to be engaged and want to give that energy and that time, like, we want to bring them into the fold, but we also understand that if you need to focus more on yourself and more on soccer, like, that's what you need to do. So maybe you're not as engaged. And so when we bring it to the social justice stuff, it's more like we do need kind of more people, all hands on deck sort of thing. And so it's trying to bring people in, and to bring people in and engage them in things that they're really passionate about. And so I think this Portland group has been phenomenal in that we really want to have a big outreach when it comes to community impact. And so luckily we've got people on the team that have a really good relationship with the community. And so there are little things that are happening, and then hopefully as the season really starts going, we can have more and more of that outreach.
Hi, Becky. Thanks for taking the time. So obviously you joined the Thorns in 2020 and kick your time off with the Thorns with the Challenge Cup. Now you're about to start the second edition of the Challenge Cup. Can you talk to me a little bit about how the Thorns have progressed and evolved as a team from when you first arrived?
Yeah, I think Mark really wanted last year to be this kind of like Thorns 2.0, like ushering a new era. And so we worked a lot on culture and just building a really strong foundation. And part of that culture was also like standards and what we want to be known for. What's our identity? Like when you watch us on the field, will you know like, oh, these are the Thorns? And so I think we put in a lot of work last year. And so we're starting from a different level at the start of this preseason, and you can feel it. Like the tactics are more ingrained. You see people really wanting to play the way that Mark wants us to play and the way that we really want to play. And so I think it's progressed really nicely. We're really hammering home certain things, and we're still very much working on culture and just trying to make this group so strong. So, you know, when inevitably we're going to hit some tough moments during the season, but we have the foundation to really hold us strong through those moments.
Merritt Paulson and Mike Golub have talked about hopefully getting fans back this season. And I know we all miss the crowd at Providence Park. How much from a competitive standpoint would it help you, and just a culture standpoint, to have the fans back?
I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal to have fans back in the stands. And I really hope we can find a way to do it extremely safe. You know, that's the number one thing, is to make sure that it's done safely. But I've never played at Providence with fans. And so, well, fans that would be supporting me and not supporting me. So it'll be really exciting for me because I have never experienced it. And so I know what it's like to play against the Thorns when they have, you know, 18, 20,000 people rooting for them. So it'll be really, for me, it'll be quite the experience for the first time to be playing with and for the fans.
Yeah, Becky, another non-soccer related question. I'm just wondering if you're reading anything good right now.
You know, I've been reading more kind of, I don't know if you want to call it self-help, but it's more like the captain's class by Sam Walker. I've been reading some Adam Grant stuff, like Give and Take. And so I'm just kind of like bouncing back and forth between, I don't want to call it self-help, but just self-improvement things.
Becky, could you tell me a little bit about how it has been working with new signing Natalia Cuica, and what does she bring to the back line and the Thorns in general?
Yeah, so we call her Natu. So I'm just going to keep saying Natu. She's been great. Like, she is technically so sound, and physically, like, she's very aggressive. She's very front foot defending, very smart. And so you can tell that she's got that international experience in her bag. So it's been really great working with her. It's fun getting to know her. She's a little bit more on the shy side, so we're trying to like get her out of her shell a little bit. But she's great. She's such a great addition to the squad, and it just helps beef up this back line. And already this back line, I think, is extremely strong. And so it's very deep, and so very excited about it.